Hey, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you, James. I mean, we actually met 2011, but it's
Yeah,
been a while. So, it's honor to be your channel. Thank you so much.
no, it's an honor to have you here today. I've known very well who you are. I have been to those people that don't know who you are, you're a former Mr. Olympia. You know, you've competed on the big stage with some of the biggest bodybuilders on the planet, like Jay Cutler, Ronnie Coleman, Dexter Jackson. And I've been to the Olympia 3 times. And I think 2010, 11, and 12, you competed. Is that correct?
So let me correct you.
Yeah.
Okay, let me correct you. So I'm not Mr. Olympia. Mr. Olympia
No. Yeah.
competitor, right? You say
Competitor.
Mr. So yeah. So I was Mr. Olympia competitor. And
Yeah.
how many Olympia I did? That's not three.
No. There's 3 times that I've been to the Olympia to see you, but I know you
You've been
competed.
to the Olympia 3 times. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Your first Olympia was 2007. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yeah. So I've been I competed Olympia actually 11 times. Then
Wow.
what year were you in a show? What year did you watch?
So I've been to the Mr. Olympia 3 times. So I was there in 2010, 2011, and 2012, and it was 2011 you and I met. Yeah, we met
at the
Gold's Gym in Venice, California, at the Mecca, the big bodybuilding gym.
right. Yes. So
Yeah,
that's actually so the year I was in men's open. Then I consider these 3 years actually one of my best years. So thank you for being in a audience and watched we perform there. That's
yeah,
2010. I mean, I came in top 10. So
yeah,
that's kind of memorable year. The year before I was ninth grade, which is my best performance in men's open category. But yeah, I mean, I could never forget all these days. I was young. I mean, I was training at the Golds where we met. That considered as a mecca bodybuilding, and yeah, everything. That's so. I mean, great memory. I am in Las Vegas right now, and actually, I'm in office of my gym. It's Powerhouse Gym. So yeah, but like back in the day, of course, I didn't have this business, but all I had was bodybuilding. Like I just literally train, eat, sleep. That was my job.
yeah. Because you were born in, if I remember correctly, I don't know how you pronounce it, Obihiro Hokkaido. Is that how you
Right.
pronounce it?
Yeah, Obihiro,
Yeah,
Hokkaido. So it's a up north in island. Of course, Japan is a whole island, but it's like right next to almost like Russia. So
yes,
yeah, so I was born there, and I was there until 18 years old. Then after
18.
high school, I moved to Tokyo. So that's where I started bodybuilding and stuff. So I was encouraged.
Yes, yeah. How did you initially get into bodybuilding, Hide?
So
Because if I believe correctly, you used to play rugby. Is that correct?
correct. So obviously you're OZ. So you guys love rugby, and in Japan, believe it or not, it's very popular still, and it was back then was popular too. Now actually it's more popular than before. Japan is getting pretty good in rugby, and they are top 16 in a World Cup, which is great, right? Top 16. Obviously, we don't we not same as you guys, but same level as you guys, but it's getting better. So back in the day when I was high school, I joined rugby. Then I wanted to be bigger, stronger for rugby football. And my position, I was number 6, so the flanker. You play
Flanker.
rugby?
I did. I played 1 year of rugby union. I played wing, left wing.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, wow.
yeah.
So union is 15, right? 15 guys. So I was number 6, and obviously the bigger you are, the faster you are, will be better. The stronger you are, it will be better. So that's why I started lifting weight, and I just fall in love with it. Then at the point, I got the point, I love weightlifting more than rugby. So I just train, and of course I still play rugby, but I just love. I wished I was just playing, not playing. I just wanted to lift.
Yes.
That's how I became bodybuilder, because I wanted to do this, and I wanted to still compete. That's why that's the thing. If you want to compete as doing just purely lifting weights, you probably end up become a powerlifter or bodybuilder, right? So actually, essentially, I started both powerlifting and bodybuilding. So I was encouraged by the time I really into this thing, and in my college we had a team, so it's called a barbell club. So this club, we had how many members? Probably like 20 guys, and in a spring we do powerlifting. We compete powerlifting. Then fall we do bodybuilding. So that's my college life. I don't remember anything else than compete as a powerlifting and a bodybuilding in college.
Yes. What was growing up in Japan like? So your early days, like what was that experience like? So growing up all the way through to 18, did like with obviously your bodybuilding, was there anybody that you can remember throughout childhood, or anybody, especially in playing rugby, that kind of motivated you to sort of really take more of an interest in bodybuilding?
I mean, rugby, I was actually watching a lot of international game, and when I started a World Cup, I think they only 1 or 2 World Cup held. The first one was actually Australia, New Zealand. I don't remember, but if you're familiar with rugby, probably the first few years you guys dominate. No one could get close to you guys or South Africa, right? South Africa, actually, they didn't join the first one because of the politics. They did at the time. So I remember first World Cup was taken by New Zealand, right? Then the second one probably yours, right? If I remember correct. So back then I was watching all these guys. I noticed they are not really muscular, but they are kind of big, everything big. And I was impressed how their endurance. They just don't stop. They just running, sprint, and I mean literally they don't stop. Then that's the model I wanted to be. But like I said, the more into lifting weight, I kind of shift to bodybuilding training, which I start focusing on more, look than actual performance, right? So after high school, and I just start focusing on more bodybuilding stuff. Even I was competing as a powerlifter, I never really trained as a powerlifter. I just trained like to build muscle, then I just compete. I never really prep for powerlifting. So if I did prep good, I could probably, it was really good at a powerlifting too. But I mean, all my energy was into bodybuilding, which means I train for just purely building muscle.
Yes. Yes. And who were some of your early inspirations in bodybuilding? Who were some of the people that you looked up to?
Okay, so at the time, Mr. Olympia was Dorian Yates. So of course, I looked up to him, and I studied his philosophy of training. And he had a book called Blood and Guts. If you know it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I know the books. Yeah.
right. Yeah. At the time, it was sold all over the world, obviously. Then I just loved how he his approach to training and nutrition and overall his life, because he came from nothing. He came from street. Then he became Mr. Olympia. But interesting thing about his was he competed only a few times because he knew exactly what he wanted, right? So he just didn't compete because he just focused on something toward the goal. So he competed, I guess, a couple times in British just to get the pro card, and after that, he only did one pro show before 1991 Olympia, which was Night of Champion. He came in second, qualified for Mr. Olympia. Then, in the rest of the history, I when I started, I didn't have that book, but once I get that book, a few years after I started lifting weight, I started, thinking. I tried to think like him, like he set the goal up, then working toward it. That's how I start manipulating myself like a successful bodybuilder. So I would say Dorian was my inspiration, both look and his philosophy toward everything.
Yes, Dorian Yates, he was a phenomenal bodybuilder. He had one of the most impressive backs I've seen. His back was just phenomenal. You mentioned philosophy, Hide. Your philosophy about all or nothing mentality. Can you explain how this mindset influences your daily routine?
Right. So everything I do, training. So as far as training, of course, so this mentality meaning, if you're not 100% in, you better not to do it, right? So I don't do any half thing. Just go all in, or not, don't do it. So training is like that. Then I remember. So right now it's really different. But when I was competing, my day was like, okay, wake up probably 5 or 6. Then during competition prep, I was doing a cardio for 30 between 30 to 1 hour, depending on your condition. But that was the thing I did first. Wake up and go to cardio, then have a meal one, then rest, a meal 2, then gym. I was in the gym around 10 or 11 every day. Actually not every day, but the day I go to the gym and I train usually 10 or 11 a.m. Then I had a training partner or coach with me. So every time I train, most of the time I don't do it by myself. I have somebody help me push myself beyond failure. That's the attitude, and I found myself that's the best method for me to work, meaning building muscle or building muscle. So
Yes.
then I as soon as I finished workout, I had a nutrition shake. Then 40 to 1 hour after shake, I eat third meal. Then after that, I every 2 hours I eat. So I was usually eating 5 to 6 meals a day. Plus
Wow.
the shakes before workout, during workout, after workout. So that was my typical day when I was competing.
That's impressive. What did you think of Ronnie Coleman's approach? I think he was eating about 8 meals a day. I think he would wake up at like 2 in the morning to eat. Did you ever go down that road? Did you wake up at 2 and have a meal? And
yeah, I studied Ronnie's too. Ronnie's, I studied all of top guys, and Ronnie's lifestyle was really interesting. He's a night guy. He just almost don't sleep until 6 a.m. Then he sleep until 12 p.m. or something like that. So his life was a little different than most of us. But I mean, your question is probably you are asking if I needed to eat during my sleep, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I tried, of course, but I found it's not as, how do I put it? I don't say it's not effective, but I found myself not, I mean, digesting well, meaning when you're asleep, you should be sleeping, right? Then if you
Yes.
eat something, you got to digest it, meaning your body got to wake up, right? Processing your food. So actually you are, because taking more calorie, you think you grow because, you know, from these calories, extra calories, but you're not sleeping. When you have food in your system, meaning you're not recovering, right? So to me, it's, I didn't see it more effective than sleep. I thought I needed sleep in order to recover
Yes.
and in order to get, you know, grow my muscle.
What would you say are some of the most crucial aspects of muscle growth with regards to nutrition, training, and recovery? So if we break it down, of all the things that contribute to muscle growth, would you say sleep is the most important?
Exactly. That's a great question, and most people actually ignore it. We know, you know, we have to sleep in order to do something for your body, right? Because during this time, during the day we wake up, our body is not changing. You know, we break down. Actually, training is breaking your muscle down, and after that, when you sleep, it's gonna recover and grow. So I would think number one priority sleep, right? Then number two be nutrition. Then a
Yep.
training, of course, training is important, but for us, of course, we have to train, and that's no question. I mean, for regular, for most of the people, general population, training is very important because they're not built like that. Because for us, training is like it's a lifestyle, so we don't need to question about it, right? If you're a trainer or not, right? So I would say, again, number one is sleep, and number two, nutrition.
Yes, 100%. Talk to me, Hide, about your diet and the amount of food that you would consume throughout a comp prep. So what was breakfast like? So talk to me about what you would eat for breakfast when you were competing in the Mr. Olympia.
Okay, so I usually had 100-gram oatmeal, which is dry weight. So I put the cup in oatmeal and measure it 100-gram. Then plus my typical meal was 10 egg white. Right. Then I'm not sure if you guys have it. We have liquid, you know, egg white. So
Egg whites, yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we didn't need to, you know, boil egg or crack or anything. We just need to pour from container. Then but I was eating equivalent 10 egg whites, which was around 300 gram of egg whites. Then 2 whole egg, right?
Yep.
And I usually make scrambled egg with it. Then I just mix with oatmeal. Then I just put some salt on it. It was my typical breakfast, and I still have it these days today. But obviously less protein and carbs. But the second meal will be rice, around 200 to 300 gram rice, which is after cooked. Then chicken, or I would say gram turkey, 200 gram to 250 gram. So that's usually my second meal. Then I have some broccoli and stuff, right? Some greens. Then before working out, I had a carb powder. I am with Gaspari Nutrition since 2009, and I still work with them. Then those are the supplements I use, and I tell people this is what I use. And people say, oh, because you sponsor them, that's why you're just saying it. The truth is I love Gaspari product, and I actually started using it before 2009. I signed it with Gaspari. So this is a supplement. Of course, I use some other product too, but most of nutrition supplement I use is from Gaspari. So I take glycofuse, which is our carbohydrate. So usually like 1 or 2 scoop, which is 25 to 50 gram carbs. Then I had a whey protein isolate. So usually 1 scoop, which is 25 gram protein. That was my pre-workout, 30 minutes before go to the gym, and I go to the gym and I start working out. I have this supplement called Size On, which is actually 5 products in one. Anything you need during training is 1 scoop actually.
Yes.
So that's the product I use during workout. And as soon as I finish workout, usually same stuff as pre-workout, glycofuse and whey isolate. Then that was a post, right? Then 40 to 1 hour after, I eat almost same meal as meal 2, which is rice and chicken or ground turkey, right? Then I would probably eat 2 or 3 more same meal. Then the last meal, I usually like the last meal some kind of protein. So, but I needed more carb. I mean, extra carb, not just protein. So I make oatmeal, usually like 1,800 gram oatmeal. Then I put just 2 scoops of whey protein in it. So I mix it and eat it. So that was typical my meal 6, right? So like I said, I was eating most of the time 6. Sometimes I had a shorter time, meaning I travel somewhere. So sometimes I didn't have an opportunity to eat 5 meals, but most of the time I ate 6 plus 3 shake.
Yes. Yeah, that's incredible. The amount of food and the amount of preparation and time, before we shot this podcast today, I grew up in a family of martial artists and bodybuilders myself. My brothers competed. I've done 1 show. My uncles were bodybuilders as well. I know how much preparation and time is involved in bodybuilding. I just have such respect. Our mutual friend, Carla. So Carla joined me on the podcast, and we were talking about Milos Sarcev, and I know you've done some training with Milos, and I'll never forget the first time I did a giant set. It was like an A1 exercise all the way through to like 18 different exercises, different tempos. It was pause reps, it was drop sets, it was everything all incorporated. You've worked with Milos. What did you learn from Milos?
Yeah. So you joined his seminar and you trained with him?
I did. Yeah, I did a seminar with him. Yes. Yeah.
That's a real stuff we're talking about. It's incredible how Milos precise, but you never know that's, like preciseness, that's, because it's the internet era. So you see all this information, but never beat the actual experience like you did. And now you know what I'm talking about. If you didn't have that experience, you would never know. So
yeah.
So if you are talking about Milos and his training, most of the stuff focused on is it's brutality. It's 18 exercise. It's brutal, but I mean, if you experience, you'd experience that it's not just throw in 18 exercise together. He's thinking like the orders, like tempos and all these techniques. Well, training with Milos was every day was like amazing, and supplies and full of excitement, and I just loved it. And I was fortunate to start my pro career with him 2006. That's the year I met Milos first time, and I went to his gym, Colosseum gym, which was in California. Then that time I was actually in California. I just did a competition. Then I didn't do well. I was not even top 15. probably there was like 30 guys, and I was one of them did not place, right? So I was second year my pro, then I was thinking, oh, well, I mean, this is it. I mean, obviously I'm much, much smaller than other guys. And, just not that. I would just know, my experience was, I mean, I did almost 50, 60 amateur show in that at that time under my belt, but no competition is near to pro level. I was so new to this, like kind of level of competitors, right? Of course, I knew it was before internet, so I knew from magazine, but just look at them on a stage or backstage, I was like almost shocked. I couldn't believe what I'm seeing. Their muscularity, their size, their conditioning. I was like, I just thought I would never compete with. I felt like I didn't even deserve to be there, So that was a shock, and I was devastated, right? Then almost I gave up. That's when Milos actually invited me to his gym, and I drove it right away. Then I remember it was probably, he said 1 p.m. or 2 p.m., but that time he was living like 1 hour away from his gym. So he usually, California traffic, you've been there. So, if you say 1 hour, if you say 1 p.m., it could be 2 p.m. or 3 p.m.
The traffic sucks in Los Angeles. It's terrible here, Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I remember driving, like on the freeway to take a 20-minute exit, right, will take you 2 hours.
Yeah. That's not even, you tell exactly what it is. So that happened. Like, got there, let's say 1 p.m. and actual train start probably 4 p.m. Right? But I didn't care. I would just sat there. I was amazed. Like I knew his gym. I watched all the video. Mitsuru Okabe Road to the Olympia. Right. So I knew everything, every gym, and I sat there. I was just amazed. And guys started coming in because they was told probably 2 p.m. and they was sitting there waiting with me. Right. So I was like, okay, some guys just competed with me. Then, okay, I was excited, and 4 p.m. comes. He said, I thought I was just watching their training, right? He actually invited me to join their workout, which was leg day. And I of course, I said yes. I mean, why? Yes, please, right? Then I joined it. Then I actually completed that exercise, which was probably not 8, which was probably 10 exercise. The beginning of this giant set, I was fortunate to see evolve. Like first, he started not that crazy, but probably 10 exercise, but which was no harder. No one was doing it. So I was of course surprised. But nowadays it's more evolved. Because guys like us train 10 exercise today. We did, but probably months after we are good. I mean, let's do more. That's how usually the things goes on, just evolve and are getting better. That was the actually first giant set. He had, I would say, 5 guys together. So most of them, I mean, probably I would say like 3 of them just competed with me like a week prior, right? So obviously they are in shape, and they came to Milos like same purpose as me. They wanted to get better. So Milos put us this 10 exercise. Then back then he was actually training with us. So which was really inspired us, and especially inspired me, because I've been watching him in video. I watched his numerous Olympia competition, and numerous times he was known just compete like every show he could. So he was competing every time, most of the show he was in there. He was always top 5. So I was just watching his training. He's doing actual exercise. was actually inspiring more than, he could just tell us what to do and just, spot us, count. But he actually did better form than us, obviously 10 exercise, last couple, reps, you could have slacking, right? You're supposed to go slow, but you just, try to survive. But he did everything perfect, as he said, like tempo, slow, and it was just amazing to watch his training and other guys. But I tell you, I was really good at endurance because the way we train in Japan, kind of brutal. I thought it was normal, but okay, for example, in my gym, somebody was squatting, right? Then he had spotter. Then once he couldn't get up, obviously spotter, he's helping, right? Then it keeps going like 10 reps. Eventually, the guy helping him collapsed and puke. That's when he stopped. That was the attitude, my gym had, and everyone actually thought that was normal, for us. So we train actually a different way, but a crazy way. We didn't do giant set, but obviously we did something, crazier in a different element. But that was why I could survive this training, because my endurance was pretty good. Then other two guys was huge. These guys probably 250, right? Then the tall two. These guys are huge, but they couldn't finish because they never introduced that kind of training. Maybe they could lift heavier, but maybe they could need more or less, right? So the way training was actually suit me perfect. So I was already built up my endurance all these years, so I could actually jump in his kind of training right away, and I saw result immediately. Then if you listen to his seminar, you will learn his nutrition, right? Because this giant said how to down with nutrition, proper nutrition.
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
Or you be skinny. Because you build muscle, you just get skinnier because of the calories, because the amount of intensity you have to endure. You need proper nutrition in the proper timing.
The amount of volume in a giant set, Hide, and for those people that are going to be listening to this and don't know what a giant set is is 4 or more exercises. It's back to back without any rest. And I'll never forget the first time I did a leg giant set. Probably third round in Hide, I puked. I did actually vomit. Yeah. I was limping for 5 days straight. I was struggling to get up off the toilet seat. My legs were just like shaking. Like it felt like someone just got a baseball bat and just whacked my legs. They are some of the most intense, brutal workouts. What's fascinating too today is you've worked with Milos, but I have a book here. I'm going to show you this book. You recognize this book?
Yeah, Charles Boykin. Yeah. Oh, that's me.
Yep. Yep. There's a photo of you here. So can you see that one there? Yeah. So you've worked with Charles. So rest in peace to Charles. And I had such respect for Charles and admiration for his training methodologies. And obviously, I think he might have introduced Milos to giant sets. I don't know for sure. But what was your first interaction with Charles?
So Charles was actually, Milos took me up to him. Obviously,
right.
They are a good friend and one of the best friends. Then Charles at the time was in Rhode Island, which is East Coast, up to New York. Then he was looking for some model, obviously for that book. This is a book specific for arms, right? And Charles was actually known as a big arm. he got big arms actually.
Then, he did have big arms.
Yeah, he was actually he's known for professional trainer, coach for Olympic athletes. So But he was interested in bodybuilding a lot. Obviously, Milos, even Milos was discussing about muscle growth, right? So for Charles, muscle growth, of course, is one of the elements, but he needed more stuff, to make your, for example, 100-meter runner faster. It's just not just muscle. You need to have some more element in order to achieve their goal. But this book, particular, this is pure bodybuilding. So Charles was looking for someone to be a model, and Miro just introduced me to him. And like a few weeks after, we just flew to his gym. He had his own private gym, and we shot probably like course of 2 days. Then I actually never saw that book. This is the first time.
Really?
Yeah, I never.
Really? You've never actually read the book?
Yeah, I never really knew it was published. So
Yeah.
I never.
Yeah.
I never. He never really let me know.
There's some photos of you there here, Dave.
Right.
Can you see that?
Yeah, I remember all these. Yeah. That was all day, like 2 days. It was brutal, actually.
Did you have an opportunity to work out with Charles? Did he run you through a workout?
No, actually, like I said, it was like 2 days. We needed to do like all day in order to cover all these exercises. I don't know how many exercises we did, but it was an enormous amount, right? So
Yes.
I never had opportunity to have workout with him, or of course I have a conversation with him during shoot, but that was it. Then not long after this shoot, he passed away, so I never had opportunity.
Yeah, it was very sad. I mean, the bodybuilding community, the weight training community, it was just a big shock, and it was just such a huge loss because he really did open up so much to weight training. I learned about German volume training, German body composition training. I learned about giant sets, all these different training methodologies. So you were the first Japanese bodybuilder to compete in the Mr Olympia in 2007. But what did that mean to you to become the first Japanese bodybuilder to compete on the big stage?
Well, I mean, back then, we watched Olympia numerous times through VHS tape, right? It was not even DVD. It was this big VHS videotape. And I watched, like, I couldn't count, probably maybe you didn't experience VHS. Maybe you just watch YouTube, but
no, I grew up. I was born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s, so I know very well VHS.
How old are you?
38.
Okay, 38. Yeah, you look way younger than that. So I thought you
thank you very much.
Something. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, but like we grew up like all this kind of back then it was normal, but we had to go through it. And I watched numerous times like Olympian. Then we thought it was dream. We didn't even think it was gold. It was like up way up there. And if I said, okay, I was competing, I'm going to compete Mr. Olympia back then, people just you're crazy, stop it, right? So it wasn't even considering. So when I turned pro, because we had a couple pro before me, but they didn't. I mean, they competed a couple times, maybe, but not. It was they are far away from Olympia or whatever, right? So I turned pro. Then of course, people think, okay, what now? What, right? So obviously, first, like I said, first 2 shows, I wasn't even considered, not to even praise. So everyone say, okay, whatever. I mean, you turn pro, but look, you're nothing, right? When I was amateur, obviously, somebody who get the pro card, you have to be good in amateur, right? So I never be out of top 5 or any competition I went, I was in top 5, right? The most I won most of the show. So it was shocking to me just standing there don't get caught out. You know, like you just like 4 months of prepping for nothing, right? So I was devastated until I met Milos. Like I said, Milos changed everything. But back then, like I said, in Japan, Olympia is not even considering you. You forget it. It's a dream. Olympia is something you watch in video, right? Not a, you don't, you just forget it, right? Then first time I qualified for Mr Olympia, which was 2007, and I would think I was surprised too. You know, Milos should actually, the prior year, Milos told me, okay, you are going to Olympia next year. I was like, oh, you kidding me? Like I didn't say that, but I was like, really? Like I couldn't believe it. But I mean, I just did whatever he said, and I didn't need to think. You know, I was just robot, like a machine. Like he said something, I did it. So end up qualifying Miss Olympia. Then, of course, people in Japan was like couldn't believe it. Like it was dream prior year that now somebody mangas became Miss Olympia competitor. So I think that makes that wall, you know, lower. I mean, you had some like big wall behind us. I mean, between us to Olympia, but I did a break it, you know. So now people will think, oh, he did done it. I could do it, right? So now, 20 years after, you know, many, I mean, not many, but some guys did Olympia, you know, besides me. Then the more, I mean, later here, I'm pretty sure more guys would compete Miss Olympia and are doing great, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did your family back home in Japan think about you pursuing bodybuilding? What was their reaction? You know, did you say, look, I want to be a professional bodybuilder, I want to compete on the big stage? You know, how did they feel about it?
So I really never talked to them about what I was doing, but they only knew I was doing competing bodybuilding, right? So I should have, you know, spoke to them more often. Like every day I'm regretting. Fortunately my parents still with us, so I gotta just, you know, talk to them more often, like every day. Then I just asked. I was training with my client, and she said she spoke to our mom every day, and I just thought I should do it, and I didn't do it. You know, so they didn't really know. Besides, I was competing, but one day, I mean, I didn't even remember if I said to them I was competing Olympia, but one day they noticed I was doing pretty well. Then in a magazine, there is a magazine, bodybuilding magazine in Japan, and they never buy that, but probably somebody, you know, bought it to them, you know, then I show them, and they really proud. And I don't think I mean, my parents had like detail, like information, or they have clue about what I'm doing, but they just proud and support every way I do, whatever I do.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You so being invited as well to the Arnold Classic. So, you know, as well as being the first Japanese competitor, you know, it was groundbreaking. But how did you feel when you received that invitation to compete at the Arnold Classic?
So that was Arnold Classic right now it's little, the criteria is a little different, but back then, so there was I believe 2 shows before Arnold Classic in spring, like February and March, I think. Then Arnold Classic comes out. So these 2 shows, you could still qualify for Arnold Classic, which all invitation, right? So actually, a month before the show, I didn't know I was going to compete Arnold, but like show right before Arnold Classic, I got top 3. So they invited me on that stage. So I just came off the stage, and Milos showed me, okay, you invited Arnold Classic, you gotta be ready. You know, you gotta buy a ticket, you gotta book the hotel. Then a week after, I think we flew to Columbus, Ohio. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And looking back on, your first appearance competing in 2007 at the Mr. Olympia, if you could sort of do a bit of a time lapse of your competition, so your initial first competition, where did you place in 2007?
I think I was 13 or 14.
13th? And then
13,
from
14.
then on, can you think of your best top three Mr. Olympias? What years do you think they might have been?
So the year you were there, 2010, definitely in top three, somewhere top three. So
Yes.
2010, let me give you a little story before for the Olympia. I had a prior year, I signed with Gaspari, right? Then I was really motivated. I wanted to show them how good I was. I feel like I have to prove something to them, right? So I started competing in the spring, usually February. I did a show in February, March, April, then May comes up, New York Pro. New York Pro, I did really well. I came in second. I didn't win, but winner was Rory Winkler. Then I thought I beat him. I mean, you know, so I was that good, and I felt like no one could touch me. I feel like unbeatable. I mean, I was beatable. I felt like, you know what I mean. So then I compete actually not eight, probably 7 shows in that year, 2007. So I did a lot of shows, and considering back then there wasn't many shows like today. It was kind of Milos did what Milos did. I because my coach was Milos, and he told me, "Okay, you're not a professional bodybuilder. What's your job?" I said, "Okay, bodybuilding, meaning competing. So if you're a pro, you gotta compete. That's his mentality, right? So you don't agree with these guys. Never really compete, and compete once a year. He didn't like that. So I did 7 shows, I believe, in that year, in 2010, 2011, also 2009. All these years, I did very good, and because I was younger, then I could get a little bigger later on. But when you are young, like 30 years, 20s, 30s, you had that pop. You don't get it now. I mean, I wish I had it now. But when you are a little like your career, seeing your career, and then I started 20 years old, right? So throughout 20s and the 30s, I wasn't I wasn't probably as big as I was 40, because I got a little bigger at 40s, but I didn't have that illusion. When you got on stage, you had that pop. You look way bigger than actually your weight. Actually you actually are. So these years, I had to say I got mature later year, but these 3 years, like I don't know which year, but I liked my physique. So so later on I won Arnold Classic 2016. So I came down to under 212. So I was obviously doing better placing wise, but I would say I didn't really like the way I looked. I was shredded, conditioned, but I didn't have that loudness in the pop. So I would say, answering your question, I like my physique 2009 and 2010.
Yes. Yeah. I just remember watching you in 10, 11, and 12, and, you just look phenomenal. And the thing I really found impressive about you today was, you're very elegant on stage. You have that, obviously the aesthetic physique, but, you're very, just the way you pose, you could see the passion and the intricate detail. But what would you say are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned throughout your whole bodybuilding career?
So you just talk about the way I pose. So that's a presentation, right? So
Yes.
as a shorter guy, I'm about 5'5", right? So 165 centimeter. Then, for example, Dennis Wolf, Dennis Wolf. He's
Yep.
like,
Yep.
he's like almost 6 feet, 185 centimeter. He's like enormous, and 250 pounds,
Yeah. Yeah. I've
120
met
kilo.
Dennis Wolf.
Yeah, it's just enormous, right? So if you think about sheer size and condition, you will never beat him because he's like 20 kilo lighter than him, and like, I don't know, 20 centimeters shorter than him. So there's no comparison. But I beat him a couple times, right? Then I beat guys like Tony Freeman or like enormous guy, taller and heavier. The way I pose like if I didn't do pose well, I would never beat these guys. So a presentation is one of the elements you can create the illusion. You it doesn't matter how big you are, you need to look big on a stage than you actually are, right? So that's in order to do that, you gotta know how to present, which is posing.
Yes.
Answering
Yes.
your question, the throughout my career, I was always a smaller guy and tried to beat taller and heavier guys. So I would say of course, I gotta bring my best condition. That's the minimum you have to do. Then you just be consistent. Every show you show up, you gotta be consistent. Meaning you gotta have 100% minimum, 110% condition, right? Meaning you have to have straighter glutes, you have to have dry condition. Then, look at other guys. If they show up same condition as me, I would never beat them because of the sheer size, right? But most of the show is very interesting. You find it when you compete. Most of the guys look better in the gym and a little bad on a stage. So it is very difficult to bring your best on a stage, meaning most of them come in probably 90%, 80% their best, right? So I
Yeah.
would know no one shows up their best, most likely. If I showed up my best, I will beat them, right? So I just try to be consistent every time. Then, sure enough, although I would think if you have like good size, good everything, you probably think, okay, I don't need to do 100%. They have some like things forget or not forgetting, but I can beat them because they're not ready. You know what I mean? Like if you have like, I'm thinking about if I'm Dennis Wolf, okay, I showed up like okay physique, I'll beat everyone, right? Because he was that good. So I just try to beat that, the element. So he's not like as motivated as I was. So I showed up like 110%, I will beat them, right? That kind of mentality. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was there ever a moment in your bodybuilding career, Hide, where you felt like quitting? Injuries happen, throughout bodybuilding, and you mentioned earlier that you were doing powerlifting. What were some of the setbacks and obstacles that you had to overcome throughout your whole entire career?
Yeah, injury, I was fortunate. I never really had big injury. My knee's still good. My shoulder kind of messed up, but I could still train. And my elbow was kind of messed up, but I never tore any muscle, anything. So I was really fortunate. I was healthy. I am still healthy. But one thing, I had a freak accident 3 weeks before Arnold Classic. I broke my wrist. Yeah.
Oh, how did you
So
do that?
so I was doing a preacher call. Then in Las Vegas, actually, I was still in Los Angeles, but I came here to train with Iris, my partner, Iris Khan, right? So Iris is co-owner of this gym. We have a business partner for years. But so that was the year she was competing too, Miss Olympia. obviously she won 11 times. So I
Yeah,
thought I have,
she's phenomenal.
yeah, I thought I have to learn from her, like, especially before show. So we were training together, and she was, of course, she was competing Arnold Classic too. Then that was 3 weeks before the show. I was doing preacher call, right? Then I finished my set. Usually I just give it to her or I just leave it on a bench, right? But I was stupid. I was just, okay, that was the last set. I caught it and I was trying to put it back in the lock, right? So I stand up with barbell and I step back. Then I failed. Yeah. Then I was, I could just throw barbell away, but I was stupid. I just hold it. Then I just hit the ground with barbell in my hand. So it just
Oh shit!
shut on my wrist. It was dislocated. It was bad.
Oh wow! What was the recovery like? Did it take you a while?
Yeah, man. Actually, then that was 3 weeks before the show. Then I was in emergency, and they put the cast, right. It was enormous pain, and I couldn't sleep. Actually, it was so painful. I couldn't sleep, but all I thought was Joe. I couldn't just stop because all this time, and it's only 3 weeks out, and I was shaped. I was already in shape, and I could compete any day, right? So I just take this out, then I just compete. So I just competed, broken wrist. So I actually came in fifth, top 5, and I got the prize,
Wow!
everything. Yeah,
With a broken.
yeah, broken wrist, and
Wow!
yeah. So what happened was, usually last 3 weeks, I was exhausted. Like then what happened was, because of pain, I couldn't sleep. So I got like a singles. You know what singles is? Yeah. When
Yes.
when your immune is down, that comes out, right? Then it makes, I mean, it looks bad. I mean, plus it makes you tired. It makes you like exhausted. And I was already exhausted, but I got singles, so I got, like, I couldn't even move. I was so tired, but I did a cardio anyway because I couldn't do stuff, right? But I found this thing, strap on your shoulder, but not elbow. Then you can still train with cables.
Yeah.
I mean, I forgot the name of it, but I found it and I bought it. Then probably like 2 days after, I was in the gym. I was doing stuff with cables with a strap, right? So long story short, I was actually better condition because usually what I do before show, one of my mistake, I push too hard. So I got actually when you are 3 weeks out and you are in shape, you don't really need to push. You just need to maintain, right? Uh, training most of training you don't want to you don't need to do like lift heavy or anything. You just try to maintain, try not to injure, right? But I was kind of pushing hard until 2 days before the show. That was my attitude. I like I said, everything I wanted, like, toward the show and toward the training. So my mentality was same. I still train hard until the show, right? So that was actually good, but a lot of risk. You could get an injury, you could get like a sick, so
Yes.
that's the only when I couldn't do it. I couldn't push myself hard enough. So that was
Yes.
actually better for me. I was bigger, actually. I was surprised. I thought I was off, right? Of course, because I wasn't doing what I supposed to do. So I felt like I wasn't in shape. But like people say to me, you good enough. You'll be okay. Then I went there, compete, and I look at the picture, and I look actually better than a couple of shows. So that helped. That realized me. I needed to some kind of back off before show in order to recover and fresh on the stage. So sometimes you see guys step on the stage and tired, like you don't see that energy on the stage because you guys are dieting up until the show. You should like eat a little more a couple days before show in order to feel out, you know?
Yes.
So that's what happened that particular year. I injured, like still compete. And after that, I was booked to guest posing. So I did like a full guest pose. I went to Canada, like to France. I went to Denmark or some like, world tour. Then I didn't want to cancel all these. So I went like a month. I went out and finally I did a surgery like 2 months after I got in. It's gonna work. Yeah.
No. Yeah, you mentioned your partner Iris Kyle. So people that don't know who she is, she's a Miss Olympia, 11-time Miss Olympia world champion. I've met Iris before. She is a phenomenal athlete. But talk to me about your first encounter with meeting Iris.
Yeah, so I think that was 2010. I was prepping for the show. And back then, I didn't have enough money to pay my rent. So I came from Japan and I just signed with Gaspari a year prior. But I mean, it wasn't enough. I couldn't pay. I mean, back then, rent wasn't so expensive yet. But, you can imagine how poor I was still happy. I didn't have, I wasn't complaining. I was so happy to be in a gold gym Venice, train there every day, but I was like barely survived. But then my good friend Kathy Francois, she was a great female bodybuilder. She was neo pro champion. Then I was good friend with her. Then she offered me, "Oh, we have a house and we have room available. Why don't you use it?" And she had me stay there for free for like a year almost. So that's when, mutual friend, Kathy's good friend Iris, and Iris sometimes came to her house, because she has gym downstairs. She had cardio, she had tanning bed, she had everything, like big house, and she had like great gym. I mean, so basically, Iris came to see Kathy, and she stayed there like a week to train and like eat, just focus on stuff. I was actually still went to still went to Venice. I drove like 2 hours, like you said, traffic, because I thought it worth it. I love Venice, but I sometimes train basement like weekend and stuff. So I start conversation with Iris, and we got out together pretty good. And then she was actually in, I think she was already in Las Vegas, but might be Texas, but she went back, and next time I saw her was Las Vegas, right? Because Olympia was in Las Vegas. So I usually wanted to go in like a week prior Olympia. So I go in, and I sometimes train with Iris because, we just get touch with it. Then 2013, we actually start business together called Body Cafe.
Yes.
So that was a smoothie bar. So we just cater protein smoothie in the gym. So it's called, that gym called City Athletic Club, which actually unfortunately closed 2019, right before COVID. That was actually kind of like a mecca in Las Vegas back then. So I went this gym with Iris, and I saw empty space in downstairs. So I said to owner, which is my good friend, and what is this place? And he said, we're looking for somebody rent, right, to do something. So I was like, okay. Then back in 2013, I was still competing, of course, but I started thinking, okay, I need to think about my after this sports. It will come. I mean, I don't know when, but I start feeling like, okay, this is not forever. I start realizing. So I need to do something, because all I was doing was bodybuilding, like I said. All my income was sponsorship. So if I do like this accident or I do a car accident, I would be zero income tomorrow. Which was scary, right? So
It's very scary.
yeah, so I decided to do something. That's when I found out that space was open. Then I talked to Iris and we just put the money together and started Body.
That's amazing. Yeah. And how long have you lived in Las Vegas for, Hide?
So 2018, I moved here. Yeah, 2018. So
2018. Yes. And if I remember correctly, you recently just competed in a Masters. Talk to me about that. How did that go?
So 2023, I competed Masters Olympia. Then I actually won the show, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So that was the biggest shock in my career. Most of the show I won, I knew I was going to win. Kind of like you feel it, then you just kind of know you're good enough to win. So it's not really a surprise. I would say you feel more like relief.
Yes.
After win, right? But this show, I was completely shocked because I thought I was being like top 10, probably top 10. If I made top 10, I would be happy. That was kind of mentality I was in that show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You've been in the sport for many years, Hide, and you're still competing. But what motivates you? What motivates you to keep competing throughout all these years? Because you're running a successful gym, but what motivates you?
Okay, so bodybuilding was my everything up until probably up until 40, like late 40s, my age. So meaning everything I did was for bodybuilding, right? My life, my everything. So, but it started changing. I can't say exactly when. I was obviously, of course, competing, but my mentality started changing. I found myself, I love bodybuilding, I love training, but competing wasn't everything for me. So I wanted to have other priority, meaning like family life or business, then of course something else, but I don't still know what was something else for me. But so business, I stopped putting my business first. Right? It doesn't mean I wasn't working. I still was working, but my mentality, like everything. So let's say, okay, today I'm busy. I don't have time to train. Before that, okay, I have to train. So this time I don't work, right? So now I do work and I put my training right after, right? It's not priority now. So that was late 40s, and I actually stopped competing for like 2 years because I didn't say I was retired or anything, but because I felt like I did enough, right? So I didn't have that urge, the fire in me. So Masters Olympia was totally not, it wasn't an accident, but somebody actually told me, why don't you do it? And I just did it, right? Then the reason why I decided to do it, because I was in shape already. I don't know why, but after all these years, I don't get fat anymore. The obvious reason I'm not eating enough food. I'm not really into food. So if I don't need to eat, I don't eat. So I don't want to eat. The only reason why I was eating because of bodybuilding, I had to eat.
Yes.
Now I don't compete, so I don't need to eat. Then I was eating probably 1 or 2 meals a day. Then I got, of course, I got a little skinnier, but I got really lean. Then 2013, before Masters Olympia, I checked my fat percentage by DEXA, which is pretty accurate. So
Yes.
I went into a machine. Then like 3 months before the show, I was already 8% body fat.
Wow.
So it's pretty lean
Wow.
already. Then,
That's very lean. Yeah.
then by the time like week before the show, I was 5% body fat.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So,
incredible.
yeah, that was pretty, for me, that was like shredded, like condition wise.
Yeah.
I wasn't big enough, but I was shredded for sure. So then after that, even after the show, I don't get fat. My body fat is actually probably around 10% or less all these like last couple of years. So
Yes.
obviously you are that lean. It's not that difficult to compete, you know. You just need to eat a little more and put some fullness back. So that's that's the only reason I agreed to compete, because it was easy for me. Then it was actually the easiest competition I ever done.
That's incredible. And you did so well. I mean, placing first is incredible.
Right.
What do you think of intermittent fasting? You know, what do you think of it?
Okay. Intermittent fasting is actually what I was doing without intention, because I said I was eating only 1 or 2 meals. And I felt actually great, because usually what I felt during my bodybuilding career, I always felt tired, sluggish, because I was always sleepy. Maybe because my weight, I was, almost 240 most of the time. So, which is way heavier than my regular weight, right? So I was tired and always sleepy, right? Then the thing that I noticed, every time I eat carb, I get sleepy. So I don't, I just I don't like that feeling, right? So when I eat only 1 or 2 meals, I usually don't eat like, I don't know, afternoon, right? Then the first meal will be like late afternoon. Then I eat only 2 meals, right? Then I feel really great, and I wasn't really hungry. I feel rather more energetic, and I felt like sharp. So I did work, in the computer. I didn't feel sleepy or anything. So I could focus. So intermittent fasting, if your objection is getting lean or getting productive, it works. I think it's the best thing you could do. Yeah, best thing you could do.
Yes.
Just, if you want to be bigger, I don't recommend doing this, but other than that, I would 100% I would agree.
Yes. We were talking about Charles Poliquin earlier, Hide, and one of the things I learned through Charles was, I'll never forget this. He said in a seminar that I went to, he said the first bite that you eat, provided it's food, will set up your entire neurotransmitter production for the day. So he was an advocate for the meat and nut breakfast. So having meat, protein or animal fats, and fats. And I tried the meat and nut breakfast before, and it really does. It makes a huge difference, because you were talking about having carbohydrates, that makes you feel sleepy. But I remember having meat and nuts breakfast. I had more energy. I had more clarity. I had more focus. I didn't feel lethargic because the meat provides a steady, slow release in blood sugar. And the nuts provide a healthy source of smart fats that keeps your blood sugar level stable for an extended period of time. Right. But meat and nuts or protein and fat first thing in the morning, and I mean, this too, is it helps with dopamine and acetylcholine. So dopamine is the motivation neurotransmitter for drive, and acetylcholine is for focus. And I noticed a huge change with the meat and nut breakfast. Did you ever try the meat and nut breakfast?
Oh, yes. I mean, that was actually what I was actually doing. All these days after, I got that information. So I thought I wanted to try. Then I tried it. Then I tried a carnivore diet, just meat. I did it, and I felt great. And I mean, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. And I found too, with training, and obviously if you're competing and depending on the volume of work you're doing, if you're doing obviously a leg session, giant set, you're probably going to need a large amount of carbohydrates before and after. Everyone's very different, but I found that prioritizing carbohydrates towards the end of the day helped me sleep because carbs increase the neurotransmitter serotonin, which actually aids sleep. And you were talking about feeling sleepy. And I remember having the classic bodybuilding breakfast. It was a protein shake with porridge and a banana on top. And then an hour later, I feel like I'm going to sleep.
Yeah.
You'd feel the same, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Hide, what advice would you give to younger bodybuilders who are aiming to make a career in the competitive world of bodybuilding?
Yeah. The only and the most important thing is consistency, right? So social media era, you want everything quick, like instance, because you want to show off right away, right? So, but I mean that's good. That's good motivation. It's never. I mean, it's always good to have some kind of push. So I agree with it. But this is not sprint. It's just a marathon. You gotta be consistent.
Yes.
We're not talking about just a few years. It's like 5 years, 10 years span, right? So if you wanna make a really good career, both like business and actual competition, well, you need to do this, but just every day. Consistency. You don't need to do like crazy stuff or like a beautiful stuff on social media, but you just got to do consistent. So that's key, I think.
Yes. Yeah. How do you envision the future of bodybuilding? So evolving over, say, the next decade, especially with advances in technology. The amount of research and study and information that's now available, it's remarkable. What do you see the future of bodybuilding in, say, the next decade?
Okay, so you see the different, obvious difference is the guys, younger guys, they got really good, really quick. I think it's all because of information. You get to know correct information easier than before, like our day. Back then, probably teenage bodybuilding, okay, they are some good guys, but now, like teenage bodybuilding is like crazy, right? It's like almost like a adult, like class. So I think this is great, and of course it's a downside because there are too many information. It's too many information. So if you are not doing what are you doing, you're just confused, right? So obviously you have to educate yourself. First, you have to know what you're doing. You have to know your body, not have somebody telling you what to do. You have to know. You have to study from your body, right? Then you know which information you should read, which method you should take. So it's all learning, but all over, end of the day, it's you. Of course, when you compete, if you're a coach, if you don't do well, you wanna blame your coach, but it's all you. End of the day, you have to take that result to yourself. It's not the coach. I mean, the coach cares, but they end of the day, it's not theirs. It's yours, right? So you have to be responsible for yourself, and again, be consistency and learning every day. I want you to too much rely on coaching. This is one thing I wanted to mention because our day, we never really had coach. We coach ourselves, right? Of course, if you go to dojo, martial arts dojo, you have sensei, but you listen to sensei, of course, but you have to run by yourself. Sensei never could force you to run. You have to run yourself, right? So that's the thing. Even you have a coach. I mean, of course, it's great to have somebody suggest you what to do, but you have to be responsible and reliable. I mean, you have to run yourself in order to make everything work.
Yep. Yes. Yeah. 100% agree with you here, Dave. I think having a mentor, a coach, and when I was talking to Carla on the podcast, she was talking about Milos, and I'm a coach myself. I'm a martial artist. I teach martial arts, and I realized that the difference between a coach or an instructor and someone that's a coach is a coach gets in touch with their students' minds. A coach helps their students. It's not about you anymore. It's about them. And I think Milos is the same. He puts himself in his students. He wants them to do the best. He invests his time and effort. And, Carla reflects on her time that she spent with Milos and how, he was just such an amazing coach to her because he wants what's best for the athlete. And he really goes above and beyond. Yeah, 100% agree with that. And did powerlifting play a role in your bodybuilding career, Hide? Because I watched Ronnie Coleman, and I watched some of the amount of weight he would actually use for some of his lifts. This is why he was one of the greatest bodybuilders ever. And I think some of his lifts, if I remember correctly, he back squatted, I think, over 800 pounds for reps of 2 or 3. Right. He'd do 200 200-pound dumbbells, incline for reps of 6. But did powerlifting play a role in your bodybuilding to help you get stronger, to add on more muscle?
Yes, definitely did. It did. I was fortunate to learn all these collect technique from powerlifting. So throughout my career, my legs, I was known for thick thighs. It came from squat. Then
yes,
my chest pretty good. It came from bench press. Basic exercise. Unfortunately, I didn't have good back, but I did because deadlift, to me, deadlift was very difficult, but I could deadlift. So all of my strong body part came from powerlifting.
Yeah. What was some of your best lifts? What was some of the biggest lifts you've ever done throughout your career?
Squat, I did 260 kilograms. So I don't know how much pound, but I did like 10 reps, around 10 reps with 260 kilo. It was heavy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was heavy. Yeah.
Yeah. And what about bench press and deadlift? What was your best lifts for those?
I usually do like four plate. So probably like 220 kilos.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was my I couldn't do like 10, but I was doing like good enough reps, like 6 to 8, Then deadlift I wasn't good. I remember the best lift, like couple reps. I never really done one rep, but during my back day, I did probably like 4 or 5 reps, like for a set, which probably, considering my squat, I should be able to do it more. But again, I wasn't good at deadlifts. But all these are heavy exercise, especially in my 30s. I was very strong, and I felt like I could lift the whole gym. That was my energy, and I feel that strong, in the gym. I miss it.
Yeah. Did you ever see the video, Hide, of Tom Platz? I think he was squatting, I don't know if it was like 500 pounds or something like that, which works out to be about 200 and something kilos. But he was doing like reps of 23 reps. Did you ever see that video?
Yeah.
And he's going up the grass. He's going all the way down, hamstrings to calves, and all the way up. He was an incredible bodybuilder, and he was known for his legs. Did you study Tom Platz at all? Did you learn any of his training methodologies?
Yeah, of course. I learned Tom Platz. I didn't have chance to see his video later because there wasn't YouTube back then. But I learned everything I could, and I was agree with what he was saying. I was same thing. I probably I'm same height as him. Then I built like similar to him. My legs are not that long. My toes are a little longer, right? So that the the structure, you gotta really need to go down in order to build your legs. So
Yes.
my squat was same as his. I went all the way down in a high bar, all the way down, almost like a weightlifting squat.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Do you think squats are necessary for huge legs, for leg development? Or can bodybuilders do other variations of squats? But do you think squats are imperative?
Depends. Like me and Tom Prats, we are perfect structure for squat. Okay, but somebody like Dorian Yates, he mentioned his structure wasn't for squat, so he did instead he did a hack squat or a Smith machine squat. So
Yes.
I think the guys like the Dorian, his torso was kind of short, his hip was high. So that kind of structure, you're better off doing something else than squat.
Yeah, so you're on social media here today. You're heavily onto social media, and you're running a successful gym. But what plans do you have in the future? Are you coaching people? Do you have an online personal training business?
Yeah. So I have online and one-on-one and in my gym. So just contact me Instagram, or then I run okay. I mean, it's not huge, but okay YouTube channel, mostly in Japanese. So if you want to check out my training and my daily life, you can just search Hidetada Yamagishi, Hide Yamagishi on YouTube, and you will find my channel.
Yes. And are you in plans to perhaps do a bit more travel? Maybe come back to Australia?
I would love to. I mean, that's my bucket list. After COVID, I never had a chance to go to Australia. But like I said, actually, last one was 2018, right before COVID, and I competed in the Arnold Classic, Melbourne. So then I actually stayed like 2 weeks, 1 week in Australia, 1 week in New Zealand with for Gaspari, the promotion. That I would love to go back, and I've been to Australia at least like minimum 5 times. I'm sure more than that. But
Yes. So you mentioned Melbourne, and where else have you been in Australia?
Been Sydney, Melbourne, Perth, and Adelaide, most of the big city.
Yep. Have you been to Brisbane?
Brisbane, yeah, Brisbane, yep.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, amazing. And do you go back home as well, Hide? Do you go back to Japan and visit?
Yeah. So I have a few shows we promote, and one is coming out in May. It's called Hidetada Yamagishi Iris Cow Japan Classic.
Yes.
So we issue, I believe, 7 pro card on that show. Then another big one is Olympia Amateur, which is in November.
Yeah.
Or we go back these 2 shows, me and Iris go to these 2 shows for sure. And this year, actually, we host Masters Olympia.
Wow.
Which is in August 9 to 10.
Yes. Yeah. I've been to Japan once, Hide, and it's a beautiful country. It's amazing. It just has so much history. I've always been fascinated with Asian culture because I'm heavily into martial arts.
Right,
and I've gone and trained over there at some of the big dojos. But the one thing that I've noticed about Japanese people, they're very polite, they're very respectful, they're very nice, they're very kind, but they are so disciplined. They really are. They're very disciplined in their way of life. They just have such an amazing culture and history as well. They're just amazing people. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hide, it's been an absolute honor sitting down and chatting with you. And, I can't thank you enough. And obviously our mutual friend, Carla, for putting me in contact with you as well. But you're on Instagram and you've got a YouTube channel as well. So that's where people can reach out to you too. But Hide, thank you so much for jumping on.
Thank you very much for your time, and I appreciate, we met. I mean, actually, this is second time, but I will see you in Australia next time.
100%. Maybe Milos will come back to Australia, and who knows, we might be in the same room doing a giant set.
No giant set.
No worries, Ide. Thank you very much.
All right, man. Have a good one.